blister, redness, calluses, all in a day's work, you know, with David LaChapelle.
People know when they're coming to work with me that it's going to be nuts, you know, and they have to be ready, you know. But it's never ugly. I don't deal with ugliness, and I don't deal with cruelty. So I can never find a problem with it, you know. I love the idea of bigger than life and more beautiful than a dream. And if you want reality, you know, take the bus.
David LaChapelle, world-famous photographer, documentary filmmaker and video artist, now well established as one of America's 10 most important photographers. He's at home in both Los Angeles and New York. A photo shoot in a rented film studio in Hollywood. Just the right place for storytelling, and David LaChapelle's photos always tell a story. Prepares the background for a fashion spread in the magazine Maxine. This one's for men's underwear. The pictures are supposed to look like snapshots of the adventures of a boy band in various hotel rooms.
Every day is different, you know, and every day is another drama and another crazy thing, you know. And somehow we've all managed to stay together, even when moving to LA and stuff, we're still here, and we're still all together. So that's really, I'm really blessed in that way, because I feel like I have these people around that are like my family, that I can count on, that I love.
They're not in the office.
You're all right. Yeah, fine. All right, so it's, not good. Oh, shit. There's way too many mirrors here. It's driving me
The next day, it's a fashion spread again, and once again, it's in Los Angeles. The team is preparing the shoot.
I go like this now.
I came to him as just a regular assistant and, you know, worked like I would for anybody else. And after a couple of jobs with him, I realized that he didn't know anything about lighting. You know, he just, you know, had all these lights going everywhere, you know, and he had all these images, and he needed somebody who could teach him, you know, and show him strobes, and so I just started lighting for him.
Well, chin down, okay.
Go.
Good, nice. Good. Perfect.
It's just in coordinated.
Maura, I don't think I'm gonna, you can relax, I don't know.
And we get this, you know, huge amount of imagery in one shot. There's so much stuff going on. You know, there's so much detail everywhere that, you know, people look at the pictures and they don't really see everything, you know, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, you know, and oh, you know, and they just see these little parts of the shot that, you know, are just like little touches, and that's kind of where Kristen comes in.
And then in the other box, there's a white violin.
Oh, I love that.
Can you put it together? Go towards her. Good, and face her. You two face each other kind of slightly. That's it. And you have to, how do you play that mandolin?
We work like people work on films. You know, I have a crew who builds, and I have people who find all the different objects, and we sort of gather these people together very quickly for a shoot. And generally, the one difference between this and films is that this happens very, very quickly.
I like that. Well.
He's an artist, you know, he's not technical at all. I mean, you know, we have lenses. We have a 35 millimeter, we have a 55 millimeter. You know, he can't say that. He's got to say, give me the ultra wide. Or, you know, I tried to get him to learn the numbers of the lenses, you know, so it'd be easier for me. He goes, let's make them colors. Okay, that'll be the pink lens, that'll be the blue lens. You know, I was like, okay, that's not gonna work for me. So, so yeah, no, he's not technical at all.
Bring the hand away from me. Just bend your fingers. Push your hand away from me more, like, so you listen to music, you're like, you know what I mean? That's it, that's it. Fan, sorry. Turn the fan towards me, so like, sideways, that's it. No, there.
Oh, leave it. Leave it. Déjala leche.
There's a perception that what we do is kitsch, but we love those things, and we've always felt we wanted to represent the things that we saw, and I've never felt that we were making fun of those things. It was more an idea of celebrating things that a lot of people don't necessarily find beautiful and making you look at them in a different way.
David LaChapelle takes an extremely open approach to his work. This comes from pop art. As a teenager in the middle of the 80s, he came from a small town to New York. There he met Andy Warhol. David LaChapelle is represented in New York by the same person who used to be Andy Warhol's gallerist, Tony Shafrazzi.
Most of his influences, and certainly his greatest hero, I think, is Andy Warhol. He worked with Andy Warhol for a long time. This was his example. Andy saw immediately the talent in David and got him to do photographs. He was impressed with Andy's personality, with the way he worked, what a dedicated person he was, and what a kind and a giving person he was. And sort of what in a sort of endlessly available and inexhaustible. There's no sense of being tired, you know, that Andy used to have. And I think David shows the same characteristic.
A gallery opening on Wooster Street, New York. The street in Soho had to be cordoned off because of crowd pressure. None of the gallery's other artists have such a drawing power, especially for the glitzy, young, glamour-addicted New York audience who want to be part of the in-crowd.
LaChapelle Lounge.
The gallerist has seen this type of excitement before at earlier exhibitions. But he also remembers David LaChapelle when nobody knew him.
So what was really exciting the first time was, firstly, was the studio. The location of the studio was in the East Village where all the artists came from. And not at all looking up at night, I saw this, what looked like different panes of window. They're all different colors, like stained glass. But it had been painted very roughly from the inside, so at night it looked like stained glass. But and it looked really already fun and alive.
It's a nice studio. They can do so much with it. Like, they rebuild it for every shoot. They make sets in here. Like, I think that's so interesting.
The studio as an ongoing building site. Here's where David LaChapelle's career began. From the beginning, the sets were self-built, walls painted over, materials recycled. There was simply no money for extravagant productions. Back then, the manufacturing of illusion was a necessity. Now it has become a tradition.
Okay, so you're gonna sit on the tire.
The models are waiting for their instructions. So far, all they know is that they will be presenting white shoes for Italian Vogue.
Will you finish that up for me?
The photographer has a quite specific image in mind. 3 girls are out to have fun. They are riding a motorbike on a summer's day. Their destination is some faraway beach. Now the models must give shape to this mental image. They've got to do a lot at once. While holding this pose, they are supposed to look like they are having the time of their life.
And desperation, isn't it? Okay, there, perfect. I need to see the shoes. You're covering the shoes, put the shoe in front. Help out, Molly. Put the shoe in front. There, there. Lean forward. Film, hold it, film, let's go. You gotta be ready, okay? Can we move it a little faster around here? Smile. Chin down, down. Hold her foot up.
Well, I was holding everybody up on my one leg. Like, shoot, the girl in front was sitting on my leg, and I was holding her leg up, and then the other girl was leaning on me, so I had like 200 pounds plus my own weight. I thought I was gonna die. My leg is shaking. But it's gonna be beautiful, so.
In-your-face, pop-colored fashion photos. Only on second glance do they reveal the hidden message, the expensive shoe which is dissolving. Another one is crying out for love.
I think about what the photographs mean in the world and what, why I'm doing it. And if I had to just show a dress and a pretty girl, I would lose my mind.
Sometimes sandals are simply lying there all alone, without any girls, beside an electric chair. The picture has a question mark. Which is more dangerous, the chair or the expensive shoe?
People are so caught up in acquiring things and shopping, and we're sort of told that that is a way through salvation is to just get more and more and more things. That the next purchase is really going to be the one that makes you happy, and it always kind of leaves you empty after 2 days.
Almost gruesome. Luxury shoes look like shark fins. They are all that's left in the end. The model has been swallowed by the shark.
Maybe the real danger is, the shoes, not the sharks.
Or in a giant hamburger.
If you look at, the invitation to the show, which is the hamburger basically knocking someone out, the big, big American hamburger, like basically clubbing, the poor person who's under it to death, with its force. That's a political image, it's a humorous image, it's a sociological image. His work functions on many levels.
used to hate the McDonald's, and I'm a vegetarian, you know. I don't eat at McDonald's. I don't go to, I hate shopping, you know, I don't go to places and do that kind of thing. It doesn't turn me on. But I've found it much easier to get excited about photographing there and to kind of embracing it, you know, rather than hating it, because it's here and it isn't going away.
Not to be overlooked in the pictures. An oversized hot dog. People grilling themselves like lobsters. The meat theme smuggles itself into fashion photos like a virus. The naked body of rap artist Lil' Kim turned into a leather surface, painted from top to bottom the logos of the Louis Vuitton luxury brand.
Her skin was a soft, warm brown, and we were making her into a high-priced luxury item herself, because, you know, that's what she is.
A world-famous photo, first published on the cover of Interview magazine. One of the many covers that David LaChapelle has created for Interview.
He has the capacity to make a cover in a great way. It's surprisingly difficult to do a cover for a magazine, you know? And the best covers sort of for our magazine, which is such a pop vehicle, you know, are covers that really feel like pinups. The great Pamela Anderson cover, where it was all about both the fragility and also that she was kind of having a rebirth and all of that. And, you know, to then photograph her completely nude, but in a powerful way, not as in a way objectifying her, and then to have that egg, you know, that she obviously had just popped out of. I mean, what a great rebirth or birth image, you know, but with wit, you know, because that could have been so sentimental.
I grew up loving pop art, you know, Andy Warhol. It's about making things popular, making things accessible to everybody. I get my best ideas when I don't think. Right in between sleep and resting, and it just comes easier. When you go with your feeling, you go by instinct, just let them happen.
Stars profit from these fantasies. Elton John as an exotic creature, Tom Jones as a proletarian. Countless celebrities have themselves portrayed by him, mostly in ways never seen before.
When we first started shooting celebrities, David would have to convince them to do this picture, do this kind of picture, and they were very scared, and that was a part of every shoot, was David sitting down and talking them, and he was very, very good at it, but talking them into doing the picture, and I think that now they have there's sort of more trust in David, and they understand the kind of pictures that he does, and generally people will let him do what he wants to do.
The singer Shakira crawled into a flesh-eating plant for him.
Sabía que trabajar con David era un poco abrirse a esa posibilidad, la posibilidad de fantasear un poco, ¿no? Yo me sentía que era un poco el corazón de la planta. Yo era la planta. Yo no iba a ser devorada, estaba dispuesta a devorar.
Small becomes big, and big objects shrink. The pictures get quite a peculiar edge through this play of dimensions.
Most photographers don't deal with imagination, and in his case is quintessential, is very important, and a sense of humor and sense of play within that imagination. So he lets that go rampant.
Some people find his work over the top. Sometimes his clients simply cannot go along with his vision. For example, at a photo shoot in Los Angeles, an advertising assignment. David LaChapelle is to shoot a calendar for an Italian espresso brand, under a blue sky and palm trees. Actually, a job very much to his taste.
The one I'd you know.
More movement?
I took the idea of coffee as a drug, you know, as a stimulant, as something that starts, you know, you start your morning with coffee and you don't know what could happen. You know what I mean? I embrace subversive ideas and alternative lifestyles, and you know, I'm trying to make this coffee, the idea of coffee, as subversive and alternative as possible.
A coffee brown model from the Caribbean as billboard for coffee products. In the USA especially, this could irritate the advocates of political correctness for disregarding the laws against racism. But the clients from Italy are not oversensitive on the issue of dark skin.
Espresso is about liveliness, colorfulness, and energy and vitality, which is in David's work. We are here in Los Angeles to do all the photos. We are confident that the work will be great.
The photo is an eye-catcher. The Italian delegation is still feeling assured. The next shot is being prepared.
This is what I need to do at the end of a long day. Producing a shoot. I organize everything in the shoot. Like, I'm the point person. Making sure we're not over budget, keeping track of the money, the funds, making sure everybody gets to the location, hiring the location, finding the models, hiring the models. It's a lot of work, which is probably why it's easier for David to go back and forth, and it's a little more difficult for me.
Looks good. Well, I had the honor of trying on
Using masks, which are fetishes, you know, like coffee as a fetish, you know, like people do fetishize coffee. I mean, they have their like espresso, their double latte, there's code words, there's special places you go. It's like getting drugs. It's like, you know, ritual, like shooting up heroin. I mean, it's very ritualized. Coffee's a very ritualized thing. So is S&M.
Perfect. Thanks. Thanks.
Did you make this? No, they're dollhouse cups. We painted them.
Yes, sir. It's covered. Okay, good. Do you have coffee in your cup, or you good?
I have coffee.
Okay, good. Okay, David, let's go.
You know what? We know you need to hang on to. It's like a performance. The whole art of taking the photograph, the whole act of taking a photograph. When you're working, everybody builds up the adrenaline, and then you shoot it, and it's very much important to get it while you feel it. Sometimes people drag on too much and stop and hesitate, and clients get involved. Everyone loses the excitement, and they lose the adrenaline, they lose the feeling for the shot.
Are you actually using coffee, Kristen?
The ladies are not pleased. Such a sexy image. Two girls kissing. That's just a little too much for them.
You know, they came over and said, we can't use this, but I'm like, There's nothing worse you can say to somebody that what you're doing is shit, we can't use it. It's hard when you're working and you want them to be pleased with what you're doing. I mean, I want to please people. It's like entertainment, and it's hard when the people are there unhappy, with your idea, it really brings you down.
You're not making any noise, I guess that's a good thing.
It's so good.
We try to keep David within, the borders, and to express pleasure in a fun way. So it's not really about being erotic.
Sex to me is just fun, and it represents energy and life. It's not really serious, it's not pornography. It's not meant to arouse you. The way I use sex is really as energy.
The Italians have gotten their own way, at least to some extent. From the two girls kissing, only one remains, a compromise. A few weeks later, David LaChapelle finds it merely laughable and continues to shoot photos with provocative, erotic poses. Angelina Jolie in a poppy field as the ultimate male fantasy, Lil' Kim as a sex doll. Italian coffee makers are not the only ones who overreact to some of the pictures. There are many who find the photos too vulgar.
He's controversial. I mean, it's a real vision that has its absolute fans, and it has people that have issues with it and problems with it. I've had friends who are feminists just say, oh my God, it's misogynistic, and how can, somebody treat women in that way, etc.
At the London fashion magazine ID, they take a more relaxed attitude.
I never think there's too much sex in fashion photography. I mean, what's fashion about? We have this expression, gift horse, and it was our gift issue. So you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And then there's obviously the whole underlying thread of possession and money and gambling and ownership. I think what he was raising here was the issue of women becoming liberated and men being strapped to old values. And that's what I quite like with David, is that he's not a preacher, but he does come up with something that makes you think.
There are many, many magazines, especially magazines that go for mass readerships, that are really afraid of extremely strong individualistic visions that could upset people, To me, that's what art does, To me, that's kind of art's job, is to stir things up and to let people express who they are.
I grew up in town where there was just so many closed-minded people, and I thought the world was like that until I found New York. And I just never want to be around closed-minded people again.
He makes sure that his friendship with the transsexual Amanda Lepore is very public.
There are so many double standards and so much hypocrisy when it comes to sexuality in America. Maybe that's what fuels those images that I do. One person's nightmare might be another person's fantasy. I don't know.
So whether the individual is gay, whether the individual is fat, whether the individual is a transsexual, is very important for him as a tool to communicate. So the images are very loaded, they shock and they affect you. So he's aware of that. The language of the transsexual, the language of the gay, the language he uses is very new in communication, There haven't been that many people doing that.
One of the reasons why I'm so comfortable because he is so in tune with me as a person, so I'm usually excited for the ideas that we have. Just like trying different things and everything. It's a lot of fun, like taking different pictures out of the way you normally look. I feel close to the one with the diamonds, like snorting the diamonds. It's kind of fiending for glamour, like it's not actually snorting the diamonds. It kind of says a lot about me, I think. Well, I just put my trust in him, and the pictures are always amazing, so I just do what he says.
Take your hands off it just a little, like.
The side, like from the side, just hitting the side of him, just so he'll be going the same way she's going this side. I don't know. You use all the time. 55. Is it ultra one? No. That's fine. You can, once you use it.
There's a box out front.
Amanda is, you know, very artificial looking and plastic looking, but she's one of the most real people, most down to earth, and most content people that I know. I think once she made that change from being a boy into a girl, that was all she ever really wanted, and everything else has just been icing on the cake. And I remember the first time I saw the actual Marilyn silkscreen, and I was very young, in 4th grade, and it moved me, and it still looks as exciting to me now as it did then. But I wanted to have this picture around. I wanted to see it every day. I wanted to look at it, you know? And, but the only way I could really do it was to make my own.
Most of the people today, certainly in the world of entertainment, have moved away from the traditional idea of realism, traditional idea of beauty, traditional idea of classic appearance, so they can alter their own faces. And he allows that and comments on it without judgment. Very much aware that in Europe, of course, we have a much more traditional, Renaissance idea about those things. You don't do that, You don't have so many breast implants. You don't have so many operations and what. You don't change your persons,
Status. They appear regularly in international glossy magazines as documents of contemporary lifestyle. Or they are shown in art exhibitions, like here in Milan at the prestigious Scala Sozzani Gallery. David LaChapelle is more popular in Italy than in any other European country. Here, he's the Fellini of photography and idolized like a superstar.
It's hard, to be on display, as an actor would or a rock star has to do all the time, and it's just, it just wears me out. I much prefer, being behind and looking at it and making it happen from the other side.
With many of his images, the photographer pursues the question of what it means to be an idol. What does fame feel like? What is it like being inside the skin of a pop star? For example, inside the skin of Justin Timberlake, whose pictures cover the walls of thousands of young girls' bedrooms.
Well, originally, we were doing a nice, Justin Timberlake collage with lots of wood spaces, because he liked the wood paneling. Then once he saw the Polaroid, he decided that he wanted every square inch covered. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Adrian!
David, I'm not going above this.
Can you help do this?
I'm not going above.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Can you help her do this?
What do you need?
Help her. Don't.
Come here, just take like color pieces.
The rock idol as a projection screen for fantasies, as a wallpaper of desire.
Idol worship.
You may not believe it, but I don't believe in miracles anymore. And when I think about it, I don't believe I ever did.
A star inside a star. In the video clip by David LaChapelle, Justin Timberlake stars as Elton John. The idol surrounded by managers and admirers.
He likes glamour. Because glamour is artificial, it's about the hilarious, the ridiculous side of it also. The fact that glamour is a wonderful thing, but it's also a funny thing. The fact that it's aspired to it, yet it's a feeble and a weak thing. And what lies behind the glamour are the tears, the tragedies, and the sadness, and the fat little situations which are a little out of control. And he comments on all of that, you know.
Maybe this is why he shows Whitney Houston in such an unusual surrounding, a shabby backstage area.
She was once America's sweetheart, like the girl next door. Almost her image was too clean. And I know that there's a moment backstage where people prepare and when they're alone. And it's really, those photographs are about that moment. And about appearances, and you never can judge someone from their appearance or what they project. There's no difference between personal work or my own work and the work I do for magazines. It's all personal. I don't have a private body of work. This is it. And I like the idea that it gets out there in the world and people see it. My role is to find beauty in what's considered ugly sometimes. For me, it's like, really, she's beautiful. So when I photograph her, I'm photographing her, celebrating this idea of her, this, you know, finding the beauty in her. And I put it in a fashion magazine. It was for ID. And you don't see fashion magazines with big girls. I mean, it was a big deal.
I don't know how David was as a young boy, but my instinct is that he felt like an outsider, and he's a fighter for the underdog, and he's a fighter for the outsider, and I think ultimately what he wants to do is break down barriers.
In 2004, David LaChapelle leaves the boulevards of Beverly Hills behind him for a while. He's making his first documentary film in the black ghettos of downtown Los Angeles. The film Rise shows the new high-speed dance forms created by the hip-hop dancers in the ghetto.
Think about Section 8 housing, gum and cheese, alleyways of violence. You ever been so deep in poverty's dirt, the grid on your navigation won't work?
Audiences worldwide are enthusiastic about these dancers from the ghetto. The film is being shown at festivals, like here in Deauville in France.
I know, but I want to start with the documentary guy that did this.
Okay, I got you.
The one you say is just in the 3 rooms of melancholia.
Yeah, I said that.
What chair?
Yes, sir.
Come to me with an attitude, come a copper. I'm old school like
I was given art classes when I was a kid. That's why I'm here. That's why I became a photographer, because, I was gonna be an artist, but I was offered classes. I had the opportunity to do that. And they don't have any opportunity. And I understand now what a ghetto is, what that neighborhood, what that oppression is, when you have nothing to do.
Hip-hop and breakdance as a survival strategy. In Rise, David LaChapelle makes the dancers look as glamorous as the models in his high-gloss fashion photos.
They're trying to see if Busy stays true to his grammar. Being a celebrity don't mean shit to me. Fuck the glitz and glamour, hit 'em with the blitz and hammer. Because they're talking black Russian. To be on my back to my face.
Some people, they may not like hip-hop. I wanted to say, this is a classical art form, and this is a valid art form as any other. And hip-hop is an American art form, and this is the next generation. And they're rejecting, the commercialized hip-hop that's being sold to them.
David's commentaries about the rock and roll culture, the rap culture, is the youth culture of our time. It's really a comment about our time, and certainly about a comment about America as it's happening now, and what could happen very, very much in the future.
I find working fast enough, in a sort of unconscious way, you get in a certain wavelength where you become more of a barometer, for the way things are, because you're a part of them, part of the popular culture, and part of the stream of consciousness, of the world. Part of the reason I chose this path and chose these type of images and working is the immediacy and the having to work under the deadline, and I really wanted a crazy life.
The colors seem brighter and the music seems louder and the pace is faster, and it's just a more intense, it's life, but it's a more intense version of it.
Big R. Big, regular R,
That's subliminal, by the way.
He cannot help but do what he's doing. And he's driven to making it as complicated and as busy and as extreme and as pressure point, as powerful as he can. That's when he feels he's given it his best.